The 703rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMASGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. Download the Rebet app or use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match of up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 703 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to one of our YouTube friends, Constantinely Chorus, which is a fun name to say. And Constantinely, who I'm sure is a guy, said, shout out to Keith Jardine, the Dean of Mean.
Dean of Mean, baby.
Welcome to the show. I'm not the Dean of Mean. I am Big Body Taco Fox, and we are back again. Second half of our UFC Macau, aka UFC China, aka UFC Fight Night, Yan versus Figueiredo event that's going down this early in the early morning hours for us Eastern time zone people this coming Saturday. Yesterday was all about the prelims. A lot of disagreements between Gumby and myself. I went dog crazy on it, so we'll see how that pans out for me. Today is all about the main card. Some good fights on the main card. I was bringing my co-host. Maybe he can give an overview of his thoughts on the main card. Hello, Mr. Gumby Vreeland.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of mixing in fun Chinese prospects or Asian prospects, and also giving us a little taste of like meaningful fighters from the UFC in general. Not that there aren't meaningful fights for Asian fighters out there, but there are, right. Getting to see Tabatha Ricci and getting to see Carlos Ulberg and getting to see even Volkan Oezdemir for that matter. Like Volkan Oezdemir is always relevant in like maybe 2 fights away from a light heavyweight title shot. It's a good card. Like also sprinkled with, we talked about Lonier Kavanaugh in the last episode. Like he is so exciting and a hyper prospect. And there's a guy on this fight card who I've been, because I'm one of the UFC special rankers, I've been ranking despite the fact he hasn't appeared in the rankings yet. So we'll talk about that in a moment.
And there's a fighter that I see in the Discord, you're making fun of me because I didn't pick him last fight. So
correct. They might be one and the same. So we'll talk about that momentarily.
Yeah, I would say there's 3, like half of the main card, half of the 6 fights, 3 fights actually have fights that are meaningful immediately, like meaningful for rankings.
Yeah, like right now in a fourth one that might be meaningful pretty quickly too.
Yeah. So that's, what more can you ask for at this point in the UFC where they pump out the content every week? This is more than what we normally get. So we're looking forward to this card, and hopefully we have some fun fights, and more importantly, we're going to win some money on it because I'm going to stay in the black for sure. Before we tell you about that, I need to remind you, or maybe you're going to feel left out if you haven't done this already. But if you haven't downloaded, that's the word, the SGPN app, you are missing out. The SGPN app gives you access to all the podcasts on the network and the picks page in one convenient app. Plus, like all our content in the app is completely free. Type in SGPN in your app store to download it today. For the record, Gumby butchered the ad reads off the top, yet he went in and redid them. I don't have that option. So I just
you have that option. You could start editing the podcast.
It's true, I could. I'll pass. That's fine. UFC Fight Night Yan versus Figueiredo, aka if your name's not Yan, you need not apply for the top 2 fights on the fight card. It is going down 3 a.m. Eastern is the prelim, so this is a 6 a.m. for the main card, I would guess. More than likely, have you seen a time or not?
My guess is probably 4 o'clock. Because remember, there was originally or 7 o'clock rather. 4 hours of prelims because there was originally 8 fights there. So we're probably gonna turn it on at 3 a.m. and they're gonna give us that damn clock in the corner, and I'm gonna lose my mind. Because I'll be up for it. I'll be up for it. And hit me up in the Discord, and we'll be chatting.
Yes, Zhang will say fight time, and then we'll have to wait at least a half an hour.
Minutes. Yeah.
Not Zhang's fault. He's there and on time. It's the UFC's fault. So this is going down this weekend in the Galaxy Arena in Macau, which is a area in China. We'll call it that, an area. We got 6 fights we're going to cover today. Definitely check out our prelim episode if you haven't already. A lot of interesting breakdowns and interesting picks there, and some disagreement. So we'll see who is right come this weekend. Let's kick things off with a 205-pound. Last time I checked, that would be light heavyweight, lightweight. Main card fight: Ozzy Diaz, United States of America, Mingyang Zhang. Actually, it should be Zhang and Mingyang. Topology has it the other way around. He's from China. Let's break her down. Tell you about Ozzy Diaz first. He's 9-2, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, so he has never gone the distance. He owes his rounds. This is his UFC debut. He's won 2 straight fights, both via TKO, and he's won 7 over his last 8. He went 0-1 in Contender Series. Who did he lose to, Gumby, famously?
Joe Pyfer.
Correct. B. Joe Pyfer. He was the LFA champion before that Contender Series fight, and then he went back and fought LFA again after the fact, but not the champ then. 2-0 in Bellator, so he's fought the best of the best, Gumby. Used to fight at 185. 2 inches height, 4 inches of reach over Zhang. Should I say Bellator never die? Has it died yet? Am I allowed to say?
They just booked a new fight for it, I'm pretty sure.
Come on now. All right, well, we'll pretend it's alive still. 2 inches height, 4 inches of reach over Zhang. Better striking stats and 5.5 times more active on his strikes, but that's based off of one fight. But that fight was against Joe Pyfer, so that's impressive. He's at plus 240. Zhang is Mountain Tiger. Mountain Tiger versus no nickname. You know who you got to side with. He's 17-6, 11 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. He owes his rounds as well. 1-0 in the UFC. He's won 10 straight fights. He's not lost since October 2019. He went 1-0 on the road to UFC. So he was in a feature fight too, right?
He was. He beat Tukatokos, who's now in the UFC as well.
There you go. Tukatokos beat him to it. He's fought at middleweight. He's fought at heavyweight. 2014 pro MMA debut. 8 years younger than Diaz, minus 298. This is the gentleman that Gumby made fun of me in the Discord for not picking. I don't know why I picked Brenson Hibiero. Maybe I was
well, and then you didn't trust Brenson Hibiero after that. Like you had him against Zhang Mingyang, and then you bailed on your boy.
Well, obviously he I saw the true him. Zhang's got to be the pick here. I can't be ridiculed again. Way younger than Diaz, a better striker, a better finisher all around. Obviously, he's finished everyone. Yeah, he was really impressive in his UFC debut. So I will take him.
He was impressive on road to the UFC too. He's so damn fast for light heavyweight.
Yeah,
He's the one who, despite being 1-0, when there was like a hole at the bottom of the UFC's rankings, I put Zhang Mingyang in there.
It is light heavyweight, right?
I think he's, and yeah, it's a thin division too, of course. But like, I thought the performance against Hibiero and the one against Tukatokos were like good enough to be like, yeah, this guy might be better than like a lot of these like fringe top, the Ryan Spann types who are like losing 3 or 4 in a row and having weird performances. Like Zhang Mingyang, I think is right there in terms of talent with those types of guys. And Ozzy Diaz is the perfect kind of guy for him to pick up another win against. He's, first of all, a middleweight at deep down, right? Like he got knocked out by Joe Pyfer at middleweight. He decided to go up to light heavyweight. He's won a couple of fights there. He didn't look bad at light heavyweight either. But like, he's a smaller guy for the weight class. Zhang Mingyang might be shorter, might have less reach, but he's definitely got like a bigger build and creates infinitely more power. I like how long Zhang Mingyang fights, even though he's not the longer of the fighters. I think he will probably fight longer than Ozzy Diaz, and the power is going to be in his favor. So yeah, Zhang Mingyang, definitely the pick here.
There you go. He's the guy. Gumby is big on. Maybe I will be as well after he made me look like a fool.
You went 0 for 2 on Hibiero picks, by the way.
He looked good. I'm not picking him anymore then. Well, actually,
no, you got him once.
Can I abstain?
Yeah, you would have to abstain, or else you're just going to keep getting them wrong.
Yeah. All right. We are staying with light heavyweights. Why are these guys not topping the card, Gumby? Both these fights, right?
Light heavyweights.
I know. Volkan Oezdemir from Switzerland. Carlos Ulberg from New Zealand. Is that right, or is he Australian?
I can't.
New Zealand. Yeah. I don't want to say it's the same thing. I'm sure I'll get some hate from people if I say that. Oezdemir, no time is the nickname. 20-7, 20-7, 13 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 8-6 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. He's won 3 of 4. He's won 3 of 6. Not so good there. Both of his past 2 wins have come to a finish. Right when we had him written off, he's finishing people again. He used to fight at heavyweight. 2010 pro MMA debut, 5-0 in pro kickboxing. I think that's a partial record. I don't think we had his full record. As I pet a dog, hopefully he's not knocking the computer screen too much. He has outstruck his opponents by 0.83 strikes a minute. Plus 200 is the number for him. Black Jag is Ulberg. 10-1, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. 6-1 in the UFC. He's won 6 straight, 5 straight via finish. He's not lost since March 2021, his UFC debut. Who knocked him out, Gumby, in his debut?
Was that the
You don't remember
Kennedy
either.
and Zachuku fight?
I can't remember either. That's why I'm asking you. You're supposed to.
I want to say Kennedy and Zachuku when he got tired.
Oh, let me see. He's definitely not losing to that guy anymore. Yes,
No.
you're correct. He lost to Hooks. All right. Who else? What else? I mean, we're talking about Ulberg. Right? 5 straight wins via finish. He's not lost since March 2021. Told you all that. 1-0 contender series. Used to fight at heavyweight. 2011 pro MMA debut. 19-2 in kickboxing. I think that's a partial record as well. 2 inches height, 2 inches reach. A year younger than Oezdemir. Surprisingly, right? Ozzymir's been around forever. Ulberg is not. Guess he was busy kickboxing. He's got better striking stats, more active landing strikes, better grappling stats, and he's still struck his UFC and contender series points by almost 4 strikes a minute. He's at plus 381. And on the board, minus 235.
Yeah, I'm going Ulberg.
Yes.
I really like the improvements he's made in his game, both in his cardio and like he's always been a good kickboxer, but if you watch those early ones, I think he got so used to knocking people out without putting any effort in that he like dialed back he dialed back how technical he was in favor of being a little nuts. And since then he's dialed that back up and now is been really technical. He's been surgically picking people apart. And Volkan Oezdemir, I mean, the nickname No Time that he was using for a little while, I don't know if you mentioned if he's still using it or not. But like he rushes sometimes, right? And he's gotten himself in trouble, like the Yuri Prohashka fight and things like that. So like, I don't think Oezdemir is technical enough. I do sort of wonder if he's going to try to wrestle Ulberg. I don't know if that would be good or a bad idea.
So now you're a wrestler now, huh?
Well, I mean, but he did wrestle. Who is it?
Was it?
I mean, he was just late on Paul Craig, right? Or right, there was that weird Paul Craig fight. And then
so.
Did he beat Bogdan Guskov that way too? I want to say just by like out grappling Bogdan Guskov. Yeah, so like maybe he goes to the wrestling. I don't think he's good enough to necessarily get to Ulberg or to avoid what Ulberg brings on the feet. So give me Ulberg in this one.
Yeah, Ulberg's my pick as well. He seems to be getting better and better with every fight. Looks like a future, at the very least, a future title contender, if not a possible champion at this weight class. It is light heavyweight, ladies and gentlemen. So you never know. But yeah, not just because it's light heavyweight. He's actually a very, very good fighter. And sitting kickboxing, you can't really bet against them as well. They've proven time and time again that they can build UFC champions. The fact that he's 34 is obviously bit of an issue, but not as much considering
not at light heavyweight. Not at light.
Yeah, light heavyweight. You should still have plenty of runway to go. All right, before we move on, I got to tell you about some of our lovely sponsors that help keep the lights on here. MyBookie.ag. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. SGPN started out with MyBookie, and now we are back. Check out the new and improved website, great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options. Check out all the MMA line, UFC lines there and head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a brand new social sports book available in 45 states. A huge market of betting opportunities are available on Rebet. Easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sports books may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. Is your state one of those states that don't let people gamble, Gumby, or is your state open?
No, Massachusetts is super open.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because up here it's all.
Oh yeah, you're Ontario. They just have pretend stuff.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it's good. You can gamble up here. You just some of the U.S. ones say void in Ontario, but no, we have plenty of books up here as well. And I don't know if Rebet is Canada too. I should check that out, shouldn't I? All right, we're going to a women's, not women's light heavyweight. Sorry, that would be interesting though to see. This is women's flyweight bout. Cong, Wang from China, Gabriella, Fernandes from Brazil. You probably could guess where both those fighters are from just by the names. 3 5-minute rounds, 125. Fernandes, you can call her Gabby. 9-3, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 1-2 in the UFC. 1-2 over her last 3. 8-2 over her last 10. Won her last fight. LFA champion. Used to fight at strawweight. Used to fight at bantamweight. A year younger than Wang. She's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.83 strikes per minute, plus 700. The Joker, Cong Wang. Yeah, plus 700. This is the Gumby type pick right here. We'll see if he comes through here. I'm gonna go with the plus. Anyhow, the Joker, Cong Wang, 6-0, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 road to 2 straight wins via finish, 8-0-1 in kickboxing, and the champion, a gold medalist in Sanda, like a world championship gold medalist, I believe. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes than Fernandes, better grappling stats. She's outstruck her UFC and road to opponents by 6.34 strikes per minute, minus 800. I'm not taking Gabby Fernandes at plus 700. So Wang is the pick here.
Yeah, and Cong Wang's looked excellent in her UFC debut. I believe we had the first round finish prop on her in that one, and she did come through on it. This is a great play for the UFC to try to get her up because she has that past history with Valentina Shevchenko. I think they want to exploit that as much as possible. She's big. Fernandes is really underperformed in the UFC. I was high on her coming in from LFA, but she has looked real bad, real slow.
She's fought bad people too, has she not? If I remember correctly.
No, didn't she fight Jasudavicius? I think she fought
Jasudavicius. That's good, but then she lost to Bleda and she split decision Judici. So that's not very impressive either.
Yeah, and I actually think she lost that Judici fight, if I'm remembering correct too. Judici's fighting our girl Juliana Miller next. Did you see that?
Oh, good. You don't like Juliana Miller, you like Judici. So I love
Judici. So but anyway, Cong Wang, too big, too strong. She's shown off grappling skills lately, which is scary as hell. So like her by whatever method she's feeling like that day, seems like the best pick.
Do you sense a finish is coming in here?
I do, but
am I stealing something from?
I do. No, I was gonna pick her inside the distance as like one of my props for later, but I think her inside the distance is like negative 375 or something like that.
I was just gonna look it up, so now I won't bother.
And like I just mentioned too, like it's why whatever way she feels like, because when she got on road to the UFC, she like dug into her submission bag, and like she clearly got the knockout power too. So it's like it's hard to get like too cute with this one.
Yeah, I wish they would pick one way to finish people so we could bet properly on it. It sucks when they're well rounded and they can finish them any way they choose to. That makes it difficult to make some money on it. But lems the breaks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are moving up to a welterweight fight. Kenan Song from China, Muslim Salikhov from Russia, 3 5-minute rounds, 170. And we'll tell you about Song first. 22-8 with 9 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out himself 4 times. He is 6-4 in the UFC. Win over his last 3, 2-3 over his last 5. Used to fight at middleweight. Has missed weight before at welterweight. 2014 pro MMA debut, an inch height, an inch of reach over Salikhov, 6 years younger, more active landing strikes than he is. He has been outstruck though in the UFC by 1.27 strikes per minute, plus 155. Salikhov famously is the king of Kung Fu. 20-5, 20-5. 13 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 7-4 in the UFC, 1-2 over his last 3, 2-3 over his last 5. He did win his last fight though. We had him written off, and then he won a fight. Used to fight at middleweight. I think he's won 2 since I wrote him off, actually. 2011 pro MMA debut, a gold medalist in Sanda in the Olympics, as a wasn't an official sport, but he still won the competition regardless. His partial record in kickboxing is 185, 13-1. Better striking stats, not surprisingly, than Song. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.4 strikes per minute, minus 180. Shocking that he's that Salikhov in the year of our Lord 2024 is a favorite, and that I'm taking him. But yeah, you got to take him here.
I think so too. And the big piece for me is like when we started writing off Muslim Salikhov, we started saying like he's not there anymore. The big thing we pointed to was like his inability to go deep into a fight, and then he immediately assuaged that concern by going 15 minutes with Santiago Ponzinibbio and looking better for the bulk of that fight. And then on the Song side, it's actually like Salikhov should have much better cardio than Kenan Song, who fought Ricky Glenn for 6 minutes coming up a weight class and completely gassed out in like 6 minutes. Like hands down by the side. He put his hands on his hips at one point in time, like 11 minutes into that fight. You do that against Salikhov, that dude's kicking your face into a different zip code. So I'm going to go Muslim Salikhov here. I feel pretty darn good about the negative 180 too.
Yeah, it's good matchmaking on his behalf, I guess. Crazy that he's such a big favorite, and we feel good about it, but we both do. Okay, nothing but Yans the rest of the way. Co-main event, women's strawweight bout. Yao Chan Yan. Why am I saying it wrong? Gumby says it's so good, and now I'm butchering it. Xiaonan. What? How do you say her name again? Xiaonan Yan. Say it right, Gumby. I can't remember now.
Xiaonan.
Yao Xiaonan. Too many Chinese names in these episodes. Yao Xiaonan, Tabatha Ricci. China versus Brazil. Tabatha Ricci Zhang is her nickname. Or Lee, I guess his last name is. Tabatha Ricci Lee. She is the baby shark, Tabatha Ricci. 11-2, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out once. 6-2 in the UFC. She's won 2 straight and 6-7. Won her last fight. Actually, of course she won her last fight. Did she finish her last opponent?
No, she has the only one she finished was the armbar, which was like 4 fights ago. She beat Angela Hill by decision in her last fight.
Yeah, the fact it says 2-0 and she won her last fight, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, Jeff. She used to fight at flyweight. 2013 pro MMA debut, 6 years younger than Yan. Better grappling stats, not surprisingly. She's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.67 strikes per minute. She's at plus 170. Yan, Fury, and 9 is the nicknames. Why is she 9? Do we know why?
I don't know, but she hasn't really used that one lately, though. That was like a regional, I think, nickname.
Yeah. 17-4, 1 no contest, 8 knockouts. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. 8-3 in the UFC, 2-1 over her last 3, 2-3 over her last 5. Did lose her last fight. Used to fight at flyweight. 2008 pro MMA debut. Better striking stats, more active line strikes. She's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.31. No, she has outstruck her opponents by 1.31 strikes per minute, minus 190. Did I go out of turn last time? So it's your turn now.
You did.
Okay,
go out of turn
you go ahead. You can do the last 2 first if you like.
I'm gonna take Baby Shark.
Me too.
I think Yan Xiaonan's grappling in that Carla Esparza fight, and granted, it's 3 years ago. So like some people are writing that off, but her grappling in that fight alarms me. And I can't get behind a almost 2-1 favorite or a 2-1 favorite in this point, who has such a wild discrepancy in grappling against, like, let's face it, one of the better grapplers at strawweight, right? Like, I mean, maybe from a wrestling standpoint, she's not Lupi Godinez. But with Carla Esparza out of the picture, like, how far is she behind Lupi Godinez in terms of being like the next best one?
She's relentless, a relentless grappler.
And that's another good, and that's another good point. She's relentless at it. So like, and on top of that, her striking really seems to be coming around. It helps to have a world champion boxer as a boyfriend who clearly they've been doing lots of work in the boxing. And Yan Xiaonan, apart from like flashing some knockout power that one time where it completely caught us off guard, it's not been a big puncher. She's been a volume puncher more than anything. So like, it's not like the damage she's going to be doing to Tabatha Ricci will be unavoidable. You know, if it winds up being 2 minutes of striking and 3 minutes of grappling, I feel like Ricci is going to get the judges' nods in that case. So yeah, give me Tabatha Ricci here.
I'm glad you went first. So you can make me feel good about my pick. Yeah, Ricci was my pick as well. I didn't know Zhang was a world championship level boxer. That's good to know. Yeah, like I said, relentless grappling, improving on the feet. And I know you said Yan like 3 years ago or whatever when she fought Esparza, that was concerning, but she gets taken down pretty much every fight. So,
yeah, she got taken down in the Wang Zhali fight, right? Too.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like, you know, if she's getting taken down, regardless of whether or not she's popping up too, the optics of that are not particularly good. And this is fixing to be a fight that goes to the distance.
Yeah, it may be a letdown too. She, fought for the title her last fight and lost. And we're talking about an up and comer still. Tabatha Ricci, 6 years younger than her. She's still improving. Great.
And it seems like the UFC wants to give her a nice little nudge in the right direction. I mean, she's number 10. She's getting a fight against number 2 in a co-main event spot. Yep. You know, she's been seen rubbing elbows with Dana White ringside at Callum Walsh's fights now that he's on Fight Pass. Yep. Like, it seems like they're trying to set her up with a nice stylistic matchup.
I would not let Dana White rub his anything on my significant other, but hey, whatever. Well, whatever you got to do to get ahead, right? Anyhow, all right. There are stories about Dana White out there. Anyhow, we won't get into that here. Somehow he hasn't been called out on anything officially yet. Let's tell you about a couple of our sponsors before I get myself into libelous trouble here. And then we'll have our main event and of course, our special picks at the end. Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use specials to boost in all flex entries. Do you have a play for us, Gumby? UFC, Al Horford.
Sure, I'm gonna go with Cong Wang. They got her fantasy points listed at 65.5. Actually,
you hear that thunder?
65.55 fantasy points, and I'm gonna take the higher than on that. I think you get the 50 points for a first round finish. I think there's a good chance she hits that, but even if she doesn't, she should be racking up the significant strikes and maybe a takedown or two. Give me Cong Wang's higher than on her fantasy points.
Can we get a clear recording of you saying I'll take Wang? Or give me Wang? Give me Wang. Can you say give me Wang? Did you hear the thunder? Did you hear the loud thunder when you said that pick? So God does not like your pick, or he's agreeing with your pick, one or the other.
Okay.
Anyhow,
I didn't hear, but yeah, sure.
I'm sure Underdog appreciates us talk about Wangs while we're doing their ad read. But hey, we didn't name her that. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And our proud partner, SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. Excuse me. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Check out the Al Horford props, of course. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. All right, main event time. More yawn action as I punch the microphone every episode, pretty much, right?
Is it one yan and one yawn?
Yeah, I guess so. Petr, it's not as fun that way. Petr Yan, we'll say, from Russia. Deiveson Figueiredo from Brazil. Only one Figueiredo here, thankfully. No Francisco on this card.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, I think he's gone. He gone for sure. Bantamweights, 5-minute rounds. We'll tell you about the former champion Figueiredo. Daiko Deuce de Guerra Figgy. What's Daiko mean again? Do we know?
I don't remember.
I looked it up, but nothing came up.
I think it's probably like Little Deiveson, or it's a shortened version of Deiveson.
Yep. Deiveson is 24-3-1. 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. That's a very nice record. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 13-3-1 in the UFC. A 2-time former champion at 125. Now he's up at bantamweight and looking no less, actually just as good, maybe better. He's won 3 straight and 4 of 5. He has missed weight before at flyweight, so now he's at bantamweight. 2012 pro MMA debut. An inch reach over Yan. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.38 strikes per minute. He's plus 250. Petr Yan. No mercy. 17-5. 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's never been finished in a fight. 9-4 in the UFC. He used to be the champion as well at this weight class, bantamweight. We assumed that was going to last for a while. It did not. 1-3 in the UFC. He won his last bout, stopping his skid. Was regional champion. 2014 pro MMA debut. 2 inches height over Figueiredo. 6 years younger. More active landing strikes. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.78 strikes per minute. Minus 298. Bigger line than I expected here. Do you want to go first again since I stole one of your ones earlier?
I mean, I don't care either way, but I'm going to take Petr Yan. I just think, like we watched him spend all that time in the cage with Sean O'Malley and basically outstrike Sean O'Malley. Right? Like I say what you want about that judge's scorecard. He won that fight with Sean O'Malley, right? And like in that fight, he was getting the better of a lot of striking stages and doing more damage. So, like, what are you telling me about the smaller Deiveson Figueiredo, who, like, Petr Yan could probably also put into the clinch and impose his will in the grappling, too, right? Because we've seen Figueiredo kind of falter in some of the grappling against Brandon Moreno. And it's not like he's not a good grappler. He's an excellent grappler. But if he faltered in the grappling against somebody like Brandon Moreno, now going up a weight class against somebody like Petr Yan is going to be even more difficult for him. So, if Jan's getting the better of the striking exchanges, I don't really expect Figgy to have any avenue to deal with that, which is, I think, why you see the line where it is. 3-1 favorite here, and Petr Yan seems right for a guy who, like I said, I think has a striking advantage and gets to choose where this fight takes place. So, yeah, give me Petr Yan.
Yeah, I'm taking him as well. I was a little surprised that the line was this wide. But, yeah, everything I've seen, everyone seems to be in on Yan, so it may even get wider. You got to take the bigger, younger guy here that hits like him. Feel a bit better about it that he actually righted the ship and won a fight, because looked like he was never going to win a fight again, shockingly. But he's back on the right side.
Yeah, and he looked good against Song Yadong too, who's like young, athletic, and powerful.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, again, if he can deal with the power and the athleticism of Song Yadong, like Deiveson Figueiredo being as old as he is, probably ain't gonna keep up.
And Yan is only what? Well, he's 31. So I was going to say he's young still. That's not super young for bantamweight, but it's enough time to make another run at the top. And a win here may be enough. Who's to say? All right, let's recap and we'll give you our special place. Yan in the main event, Ricci in the co-main event, Salikhov, Wang, Ulberg, Zhang. Hey, we agreed on everything. Just glued in. Team ride. Hashtag SGPN team ride. All right, locks, dogs, props. My turn, your turn. Do you know my picks already?
Your turn. I have a feeling on a couple of them, but go ahead, your turn.
Can't believe I'm going to say this, Gumby. Give me the King of Kung Fu.
I have that written down.
All right, that's my lock. Yeah, you know how I go. I look for the line that's not too crazy and someone I'm comfortable with. So yeah, give me Salikhov minus 180. We just told you why a few minutes ago.
I'm going to say ditto. I got the King of Kung Fu. I think that line is the best line on this card. And I've been fading Song Kenan. So let me keep fading him and let me get in on the King of Kung Fu negative 180.
You better not be mushing my lock streak I have going here by agreeing with me. For my dog, do you have me as Bang Lee at plus 115?
Yeah, I do, because I also have Bang Lee at plus 115. I mean, like the grappling alone should be enough for him. So yeah, I like Quang Lee. Let's double down on both of them.
There you go. Now props, it's got to be impossible to guess what prop I'm going to like, right? Because there's so many.
I mean, I think it might be mine. I think you might we might triple.
Really? Ulberg via knockout, 138. Oh, team run.
I'm not kidding you. I got 140 written down, but yeah.
Okay. We'll take plus 140, even better.
Yeah, all right. I love that. Literally, those are the three I had written down, and I'm like, mentally, I'm like, he just tails me on all of them. So
that's easy graphic making for you this week. I mean, there's another positive for
only
you.
3 faces.
Right, Salikhov, Lee, Ulberg via knockout. Yeah, we were concerned about Oezdemir's chin, obviously, and then he looked okay his past few fights, but chins generally
grappling
don't come
in
back.
Those fights too,
yeah,
though,
chins generally they don't regenerate themselves. So all right, we're feeling good about that now. We've got Hungry Man Jog Superfan Parlay, or perhaps a round robin. Who knows what Gumby's got cooked up this week?
So the round robin was profitable last week. So that means, when something's working, we don't mess with it. So I found 5 lines I like here. If you're a round robin person, that means 26 legs or 31 if you play the straight lines too. So like I usually suggest playing the straight lines because they like, if then you only get one right, you're basically, cutting a third of the losses out right there. So the 5 plays I like here, I'm going to take Zhao Ken Fang in her fight by knockout. She's so much bigger than Ming Shi. I think she's going to impose her will. Grounded pound finish totally in play. Plus 450 on her KO prop. I'm then going to go to Jiu-Jitsu. I know you didn't pick Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu by sub. The dude's name is Jiu-Jitsu. We saw him with a pretty good sub game. Plus 475 for him to win by sub with a nickname.
Right in his name, though. It's right in his nickname.
It's 2 on the nose. Too easy. 475 on that one. My big swing here is going to be Quang Lee. We talked about how his jiu-jitsu is kind of underrated, despite the fact he's been swinging in LFA lately. His sub prop is 750. That might be the most fun prop on the whole card right here. Is Quang Lee by submission is 750. And then I like Nicholas Moda's KO prop. We talked about Moda having some pretty nice hands, kind of being underrated. He's won a bunch of fights by knockout. Mahashate's been knocked out. His KO prop right now, 375. And then we're going to round that one out with Carlos Hernandez. I talked about really liking Carlos Hernandez and thinking his wrestling's kind of sneaky. He has a load of subs on his record. His sub line is also 435. So another one that's 4-1 or better on all of those. So once again, recap those. Feng KO 450, Yu submission 475, Lee submission 750, Moda KO 375, and one more submission, Hernandez plus 435. If you hit 2 of them, you're going to break even and wind up in the positive. So that's all you need is just 2 of those things to come true. And if you hit all 5 by some beautiful, beautiful miracle, you're going to win 583 times your input.
That's a lot of times. So me submission or you submission? I'm confused.
A you submission.
You submission?
You
I
submission.
thought,
But also Lee submission. Lee submission and
that's the
you
thing.
submission.
Lee submission and you submission. Everyone's submission. Fantastic. All right. You're all set now. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed giving it to you. We will be in the Discord discussing this. Gumby has already said it. He will be up watching this event. Zhang will for sure. He's on the West Coast, so it's not quite as crazy for him. And a bunch of other of you degens will be in the Discord as well. They always are. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Check us out. It's a friendly group in there. Where else can you check us out? You can check us out on YouTube, obviously, if you aren't already. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks in advance. Hit us up in the comments if you like. Maybe if I like your comment, you'll get an episode dedicated to you. The greatest honor you could get in this world. Of course, SGPN MMA on Twitter. He's gonna be reeling. I'm Jeff Fox, writer there, and on Instagram. Get in my Substack now. You know who's going to win all these fights. Yeah, you're all set. Get in my Substack, play my pick'em contest, and you will win. moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has Top Turtle MMA podcast. Who is on it this week, Gumby?
Tabatha Ricci, who we talked about already, and Sam Creasy, the Octagon flyweight champion.
There you go. So check it out. It should be in your feeds now. So go and grab it. sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon are the spots to be. We're coming back, Sunday? We got no UFC next week, but we got lots of regional. Yeah, PFL. We got lots of PFL episodes coming up because it's their year-end event. So bid the people through.
I'm Data Gumby Freeland. He's the Blackjack Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.